You hear the term AI literally everywhere, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, forget all the jargon. In this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and get to the one core concept that makes everything about it just click.
All right, so let's say you had to explain artificial intelligence in just one sentence. What would you even say? It sounds super complicated, doesn't it? But the fundamental idea is actually surprisingly simple.
And here it is. This is the big idea. At its very heart, AI is a pattern matching machine. That's it. It learns from looking at tons of examples, not from following a long list of rigid rules. Seriously, burn this into your brain, because everything else we're about to talk about builds on this one simple idea.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a game changer, we've got to look back at how things used to be done. For decades, the way we taught computers was by giving them very, very specific rules to follow.
Let's take a really simple challenge, something we do every day without thinking, trying to teach a computer to identify a chair in a picture. With the old method, you'd have to spell out exactly what a chair is using a strict set of rules. So your program would basically just be a checklist. As you can see, you'd ask questions like, does it have 4 legs? Does it have a flat surface? Is it made for sitting? And if the answer is yes, yes, and yes, the computer would say, conclusion, it's a chair. Seems pretty logical, right? Simple enough.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The real world is just messy. A stool with 3 legs fails rule number 1. A beanbag chair? It fails pretty much all the rules. But they're still chairs, right? The rigid rules just don't hold up.
And that right there is the whole problem in a nutshell. A system that's built on these strict, human-written rules is incredibly brittle. It just can't handle all the weird variety of the real world. It just breaks. So we needed a better way. Okay, so now let's flip the script and look at the AI way. This is a completely different way of thinking. We're not the teacher writing rules on a chalkboard anymore. Instead, we kind of become a curator. We literally just toss the rulebook out the window. Our job now is to collect a giant library of examples to show the machine. And when I say a giant library, I mean huge. You might show the computer, I don't know, 100,000 different photos, and you label each one chair or not a chair. You give it everything, office chairs, beanbags, thrones. And you also show it stuff that isn't a chair, like tables and lamps and cats. And this is where the magic happens. We don't tell the machine what to look for. It just crunches through all those examples, and it starts to see the underlying pattern all by itself. It figures out this sort of vibe, this essence of chairness, without us ever giving it a single rule. So let's put them side by side. It's a pretty stark contrast, right? On one hand, you've got the old way, which is super rigid and totally relies on a human expert to define everything. On the other hand, the AI way is flexible, and it learns right from the data. It discovers concepts on its own, concepts that, let's be honest, we humans might have a hard time even putting into words.
Okay, I know this might still sound a little out there, but here's the thing. You're already an absolute pro at this. You've been doing it your entire life.
I mean, just think about it for a second. When you were a baby, nobody handed you a user's manual on how to recognize your mom, right? There was no checklist for her hair color or the exact distance between her eyes. Of course not. You just learned from examples. You saw her face thousands upon thousands of times, from every possible angle, in every kind of light, making every expression you can imagine. Your brain was just flooded with data points. And you know what? Without you even trying, your brain did something amazing. It took all of that raw data, and it just found the pattern. It learned the unique, unmistakable essence of her face.
And that is the big connection here. Modern AI is doing the exact same thing. It's using the same fundamental process of pattern recognition that our own brains do. The only real difference? Its senses aren't eyes and ears. They're just these gigantic piles of data.
So, let's bring it all home. What's the one single thing you should remember from all this? If you forget everything else, just remember this next part. When you boil it all down, modern AI is just pattern matching. Whether it's spotting a chair in a photo, or translating from Spanish to English, or even writing an email for you, it's all about finding and then recreating patterns from all the data it was trained on.
And that really leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending question. If these systems really are learning in a way that's similar to how we learn,
but they can see and process way more data than any single human ever could. What kinds of patterns are they going to find in the world that we've been completely blind